Hello and welcome to the Hub Podcast. My name is Eric Berger, Director of Marketing for Bettergood, the maker of VolunteerHub. Today we're continuing our Client Success Series, and I'm excited to be joined by Ginou Do, Volunteer Coordinator for CityTeam. CityTeam is an organization that provides help and hope through services like hot meals, shelter, clothing, transitional housing, education, and restorative programs, meeting immediate needs while helping individuals move towards lasting stability. In their most recent year of reporting, CityTeam programs have helped provide 6 million meals, 142,000 nights of shelter, 3 million worth of clothing, and support for more than 14,800 households. Janu, thank you so much for being here. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing great. I appreciate you taking time out of your day to speak with me. I know the volunteer coordinator position wears a lot of hats, so thank you for dedicating some time to talk to me about City Team and then also your success with Volunteer Hub. So, if you don't mind, I wanted to kind of kick things off and ask you to kind of walk me through your role at City Team and what you're accountable for related to your volunteer program.
Sure. My role technically is volunteer engagement manager, but I just go by volunteer coordinator just for San Jose. And so my role would include kind of if Apple or Google or Intel or any like corporate group or church or any other organization wanted to volunteer with City Team, then they would contact me specifically, and I would go through our calendar and see which event kind of suits them the best. You know what I mean? And so sending them landing page links, things like that, making sure they're signing our waiver form. In terms of other responsibilities, greeting those groups and letting them know about City Team and kind of giving them our mission statement and like letting them know who exactly we're serving. And so trying to give key metrics just so it gives them a better idea as to why they're volunteering, right? And so I would say training any new volunteer coordinators for the different cities we are located in. And so training them, providing technical support. So if there's any troubleshooting or just things that they need help with, then I'm here to figure out the problem. The other responsibility would be providing quarterly reports just for our executive team. And so if there's any specific stat that I have to look for, then I will go within Volunteer Hub and then use the reporting system to figure out that specific stat. That's pretty much the basis of the job. It's been a joy being able to meet all the different volunteers within the past, I'd say 6 years I've been in this position technically. And so, yeah, it's been nothing but a joy.
So you're a busy guy, is what you're trying to say.
It can get very busy, especially during the holiday season.
Well, let's talk about City Team and your mission. What outcomes does City Team need to achieve in order to reach its mission, and where do volunteers directly influence those outcomes?
So, City Team, we are a Christian nonprofit organization. And so, what started in 1957 as a soup kitchen in downtown San Jose kind of like over the years morphed into okay, we're helping the homeless. Now we're going to try helping those who are suffering from addiction. You know what I mean? And so, and then that kind of morphed into okay, let's try helping out low income families. Our mission statement is to provide immediate and lasting solutions to the homeless, those suffering from addiction, and then also low income families. Where volunteers kind of fit into that, we kind of rely on volunteers for pretty much all of our events to help those three demographics. It's a very vital part of our organization. And I always say City Team would cease to exist if it weren't not for like our volunteers and all the countless hours that they put in to help seek out our mission, so to speak.
And I spoke about this on the intro to this podcast, but I know through doing some research on your guys' organization,
Mhm,
in 2024, you served 6 million meals,
mhm,
142,000 nights of shelter, 71,000 volunteer hours,
mhm.
$3 million worth of clothing provided. So when you're looking at your mission, are there any other outcomes that you look at as far as it being achieved? Like what metrics, signals, indicators do you specifically look at each year in order to know you're hitting your targets?
That is definitely not a question for me because I don't really know what key metric constitutes success for our organization. And so I think we're just trying to do better each year and strive to serve more in terms of every key metric.
And so as far as the volunteer hours, I know that's
Mhm.
71,000. Roughly how many volunteers represent that each year? And why is volunteer management so important to your program?
So I think the unique number of volunteers, so that would be like in a year, this person volunteered 4 times that year. We're excluding duplicate events, so to speak. I think the unique, like individual volunteers we had for all 5 locations was roughly 6 to 7 thousand unique volunteers.
Wow.
Yeah. And so for us, it's very vital just because when they sign up, they're given all the information, whether it be the confirmation or reminder email that is very detailed and all the information that they do need to go to this event. And then also our thank you email, it includes our survey to which each template will be connected to each department just to see how they're doing. And if they want to sign up for our newsletter, they are able to. Through that email, we can send them updates on organization, things that we're doing in the future, stuff like that. And I think the most important part for us was including the, hey, do you want to donate? We are a Christian nonprofit. We operate solely off donations, and so it'd be great if you could donate. Including that, I know there was an increase in donations either last year or 2 years ago when we did include the link. And so that's the biggest part for us is spreading more information on what we're trying to do, and also if volunteers feel so inclined, then they can donate.
Yeah, so you're saying volunteers are vital to your program.
Yes,
That's
very
yeah,
vital.
very vital. Yeah. And I know you mentioned earlier in the interview that you've been with CityTeam for 6 years, and I know that CityTeam has been a Volunteer Hub client for 10 years.
Yes.
So, are you able to provide me any backstory, like what triggered the adoption of Volunteer Hub? Where did volunteer coordination break down before Volunteer Hub?
I actually have no idea what platform City Team used prior to me getting hired. I was originally a client of the recovery program. I struggled with heroin addiction for give or take 6 or 7 years up until I went into the recovery program, graduated. I think this was back in 2017. City Team adopted Volunteer back in 2015. I graduated the program, became an intern for the development department. And then at the time, yes, they were using Volunteer Hub. And so they were very keen on teaching me Volunteer Hub at that time. And luckily, the person training me was very, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. She knew Volunteer Hub very well. She did everything in her power to kind of teach me all the things that she knew. And but yeah, I do not know what platform City Team was using before Volunteer Hub.
But as far as your ability to use it,
Mhm.
how did you find the process as far as learning it and kind of adopting it yourself when you came into the organization?
So the process of me learning Volunteer Hub, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, like how easy was it for you to pick up on how to use the platform?
For me, I think it was easy for me just because I think I had a really good, I guess, teacher. You know what I mean? I know that some of our staff might have trouble learning Volunteer Hub just because I think it's one of those things to where like the more that you use it, yes, you will pick it up really quickly. You know what I mean? But if you're using it once a month, it's kind of daunting just because there's so many things within Volunteer Hub. But I do think that if it's something that you're using every day, then yeah, you'll eventually pick it up.
Yeah, I think it does. And I should have said this before, but congratulations on that recovery. And it's cool to hear somebody who obviously is a success story of City Team when you're
Mhm.
talking to City Team. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. So I'm sure City Team is obviously very close to your heart when you're working for this organization that helped you in your own journey. So
Yeah.
can you talk a little bit about like what's the most critical way that you use Volunteer Hub in your day-to-day work?
In my day-to-day work, it would just be kind of maintaining the current calendar that we have in San Jose and making sure that all of our events are up to date because there is a lot of events specifically in the San Jose area that we do have. And right now, I think so. We partner with Second Harvest Food Bank, and so we serve roughly 6 to 8 thousand families on a monthly basis, and we have, I think it's 40 to 43 mobile food pantries within the South Bay alone. Of those 40 mobile food pantries, a lot of them require a volunteer hub event that volunteers can sign up for. So I would say in my daily use of Volunteer Hub, it would just be checking, to see which volunteers have signed up for what event, who needs to make a reservation, things like that, and kind of just general upkeep of our events and making sure everything is in line, so to speak.
If you had to pick one feature of Volunteer Hub that you don't think you could live without on a day-to-day basis, what feature would that be?
That is a great question. I would definitely say like the kiosk check-in. That is, I would say, extremely vital for us just because like you can set it up on your phone and well, I'll give the mobile food pantries as an example. So say that because we have 43 mobile food pantries in the South Bay, I'm not always there. The person that manages all these food distributions, she's not always there. You know what I mean? And she has appointed these mobile food distributions pantry leads, so to speak. And so those pantry leads, we are able to give them access to the kiosk check-in. And so through their phone, volunteers sign up for that pantry. They can just pull that up and have all the volunteers check in through there. That is one. Number two would be the on-site check-in. I think that was a great feature that was added. I don't know when exactly that was added, but it is a very great feature that we have then passed along to our pantry leads. And so once we give them admin access, they're able to check in volunteers right there and then. And I think both kiosk check-in and on-site check-in are some of the features that we probably would not be able to live without.
I'm a firm believer that support is just as valuable as the product. So when you've needed help or guidance over the years, how has your support experience been with the Volunteer Hub team?
I've said this, and the my previous teacher of Volunteer Hub has said this in terms of like support. Whenever you reach out to support, it is extremely quick. I don't know how you guys are so fast in terms of getting back to people, but it is amazing. Like I will just submit a ticket and immediately, not immediately, but within the day, yes, I will get a response like, "Hey, how can we help you?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of looking back, I forgot to ask one question, and that's what's your experience been like with volunteer adoption of Volunteer Hub?
Very easy. I've set it up to where it's just like we can literally take a calendar, sorry, a group calendar landing page link, and I can literally turn that into a QR code and stick it on the wall for a specific pantry. And those volunteers can just scan that and sign up through that QR code. Our waiver form is attached to the registration process, and so once they register, they're all good, and so they could just keep signing up for events. In terms of adoption of Volunteer Hub of our volunteers, they've had a very good experience. I love Volunteer Hub. Maybe because I've been using it for so long, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's great to hear that your volunteers too have found the platform relatively easy to use. And so I just have a couple more questions, and one is, have there been moments where you found yourself recommending Volunteer Hub to peers and partners, and what prompted that? You may have just answered that because you said you love Volunteer Hub, but have you ever had a chance to recommend it to any other organizations or felt the desire to?
I feel like some organizations have potentially asked, like, yeah, what volunteer platform have you used? And so I just tell them the only one that I've ever used and the one that I have a good experience with is Volunteer Hub. Easy to use, it's easy for volunteers to use, and the way we set it up, it's very straightforward.
Perfect. And my last question is just kind of going back to CityTeam,
Mhm.
and it is, if somebody in the community wants to volunteer with CityTeam, what is the best process or way for them to get started?
Go to cityteam.org/volunteer.
So it couldn't be easier.
It could not be easier.
All right, Ginou. Well, thank you again for your time and obviously the important work that you're doing at City Team. It's been great hearing how volunteers play such a important role in delivering your vital services and creating real impact in the communities that you serve. And to everybody that's listening, if you're inspired by City Team's work and want to get involved and learn more, we encourage you to explore ways to support their mission. Thanks for joining us on the Hub podcast.